Hello, this is Steve Carver. I'm a business coach and love working with entrepreneurs. And after 63 years of owning my own businesses, which I still operate today, and which includes a number of different types of services, including a pretty productive and very profitable website where I do direct sales to customers of farm equipment machinery, and that's carverequipment.com. I've learned a lot of things that I share with people, with entrepreneurs in the classes that I teach for the small business centers across the state at their small business at the community colleges. And one thing that always comes through, that no matter what business that you're in, no matter how large or small it is, there are certain strategies and techniques that the business owners that use them and make them kind of a part of their DNA, those are the folks that stay in business for 50 or 60 years. Not using and not taking advantage and not treating your customers a certain way will certainly make your business fall apart in a hurry, and therefore you would lose your investment and your time. I want to encourage you to listen and to think about what I call 30 drill skills. That is, skills that will really help you every day have a more profitable and sustainable business, and skills that will help take some stress out of your life as a business owner. I've learned a lot of things that I share with people, with entrepreneurs in the classes that I teach for the small business centers across the state at their small business at the community colleges. And one thing that always comes through, that no matter what business that you're in, no matter how large or small it is, there are certain strategies and techniques that the business owners that use them and make them kind of a part of their DNA, those are the folks that stay in business for 50 or 60 years. Not using and not taking advantage and not treating your customers a certain way will certainly make your business fall apart in a hurry, and therefore you would lose your investment and your time. I want to encourage you to listen and to think about what I call 30 drill skills. That is, skills that will really help you every day have a more profitable and sustainable business, and skills that will help take some stress out of your life as a business owner. So let's talk about a few of them as we go today. The first thing I want to encourage you to do is to have a business plan. That is, take time to chart out a structured plan where you list the goals that you want to reach during the next month or year or 5 years. But get a plan started. And that plan needs to tell you something very important. It needs to tell you what's left, because your business plan will give you your projected cost and your projected incomes. And when you compare those to each other, the bottom line is what's left. And if that what's left number is not where your goals are, then you need to make some changes in the plan. So have a good business plan that's telling you what's left so you can make the changes that you need to see your dreams and your goals come true. The second strategy that I want you to have is a marketing plan. Just not about how to buy ads or how to put signs out, but a marketing plan is how to end up treating your customer from start to finish, from the design of your product or service you want to offer, through surveying, through putting pricing on it, how to market it, and how to help the customers find it, how to sell it to them, and eventually making that sale. Well, a lot of folks say, well, that's where your marketing plan ends if you make the sale. Wrong. That's 50% of your marketing plan. The rest of this is so special because after the sale, this is when you feed your database. You put that customer's information into your database so you can stay in touch with them for years and years to come and help bring them back again. And when you're satisfied that they are 100% satisfied, and you call them to make sure with what we call follow-up calls, which is very important in your marketing plan, that follow-up call is when the magic moment can happen. The magic golden goose moment can happen. That is, you're able to say to that customer at that point in time, now, didn't I hear you say you were going to be interested in this in September? Or do I remember you saying that your brother will be in the market for something? Or when is it you want me to put you down on my calendar for your next visit? In that follow-up call and conversation is when you're writing down the future of your business, the future for your cash flow. And it's so important that you get that information right then. And so you can follow up on it for future times. That's called a marketing plan that's going to tell you what's next. And what's next is so important because what's next is next month, next year, the next 10 years. So instead of worrying about, or be able to stay in business another month or two, you start worrying about your marketing plan and getting the information you need to know what's next. That's when you're going to get a good benefit. Number 3 is I want you to know that there's 3 types of marketable profit centers. A profit center is something you do in your business that generates revenue. But I like to put the word marketable in front of that, in that when you're deciding what you're going to be selling or offering the public, put that word marketable in front of it, and then you will pick items that you can market separately. Every time you can market a product separately, that means you can bring in a separate and different group of customers and really go after your niche markets by doing that. There's 3 kinds of profit centers. First kind are those that you design to bring in new customers. You need new customers because you'll probably lose a third of your customers every year. So if you're not bringing in new customers and making that a part of your structure, you're backing up. The second type of marketing profitable profit center is those that create repeat business and encourage pickup items and merchandising where you can make some better profit margins. Profit centers number 1 were probably lower margins, lower profit, because you're trying to bring those new customers in, so you're stealing them from other competitors or getting them to drive in off the street. You're not going to be able to make much profit doing that. So your profit centers number 2 need to be designed to help you increase those margins. So once you can get them in the store, you can encourage them to do the upsells and cross sales to pick up items off your merchandising racks or from your service department for service or parts for parts, where that you can increase your profitability with those continuing sales types items. The third type of profit center is so important as well, and I like to call those the big ticket items. If you don't plan to have some big ticket sales, you won't have them. Let me ask you, is it more fun to go to the bank and deposit $500 or $50,000? Well, let me tell you, when you make that $50,000 deposit, you don't leave there smiling and kind of with a click in your step. But you don't make those big ticket sales unless you plan to do it. So good planning, good business strategies using upsells and finding products that you've got some real margins in to help you create some big ticket sales. You need them because now I promise you, you will have some big ticket expenses that you didn't count on. And to offset that and to be able to stay in business needs big ticket sales. So plan to do that, number 4. I also want to say that there's 3 types of profit centers, but I want you to have at least 5 in your business. At least 5 with one of the 3 a part there. If you're just planning on running your business with one profit center, it will go south one day and your business will close. So have a number of different profit centers bringing in revenue at different times of year from different groups of people to have a better chance. Number 4, I want to talk about the most valuable person in your business life. And that person is your RFC. The letters RFC that stand for raving fan customers. The raving fan customer are the people that's going to keep your business running for years after years. They're the people that the raving fan customers are better than loyal customers. They're better than regular customers. They're regular than friendly customers. The raving fan customer is the one that leaves your store and goes out into the community or onto the internet and starts singing your praises to other people. They become walking, talking, marketing machines for you. You're better off to spend enough time with each of your customers to make sure they're going to be raving fans than you are just to see what large volume of customers that you can run through your business. The raving fans will keep business coming back to you. And when times get tough, and they will get tough from time to time, it's the raving fan customers that's going to save your business and help keep you alive. So you look after them. That's the RFCs. Number 5, I want us to remember the old child's game about rock, paper, scissors, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4 is no demand, change your plan. NDCP, no demand, change your plan. What am I trying to help us kind of get into our DNA by driving that in? If you got some profit centers or your business plan has got red ink, you need to change it. You need to monitor what each one of the things that you're selling are doing for you. And if you see that one of them's going south with profitability, change the plan. And don't wait till the train hits you. You see the light coming a long way away. You've got time to do it. Don't give up. Don't ride it out. If you keep riding it out, the train's going to run over you. But if you have the initiative to go ahead and change the plan and to know that that's a good thing to do, then you change those plans. A lot of things you can do. You can cut your cost, you can raise your prices, you can look for other profit centers. You might just have to take something and put it on the shelf and forget it to bring something new out. But be willing to make changes. Let me tell you, after 63 years, it's pretty well a given now that in small business, you need to reinvent yourself about every 5 years. Yeah, about every 5 years. Because do you want to be on the back side of the wave if you're a surfer, or do you want to be on the front side of it where you can go places? And staying on the front side of the wave means you have to change your plans often. Number 6 is ABCD. That's about as simple as it gets. ABCD. If you're making notes, I want you to write this down. Always be connecting the dots. Always be connecting the dots. And that teaches us not to make decisions in our small businesses that don't match up and fit in the line of dots with our business plan. If you're making a decision that's way off base, out here away from your line, it's going to cause a bump in the road. That's like saying that what you need to add a pickup truck to your business. So you go out and you look around and you've got the option to buy a really good used truck for $5,500. But on the dealer lot there, this great salesman showed you a truck, a brand new one for $60,000, and it is so cool. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's got new paint. Man, it's just really cool. 2 or 3 seats in it, a tailgate that does all fancy stuff, $60,000. And you can finance it for 10 years, and the payment would be fairly low. So why not get it? Because what you want to remember is the $5,500 truck will get your business done and you don't have to go into debt. So buying a $5,500 truck is putting your dots in line. Buying a $50,000 truck is going to cause a big bump in the road. Always remember to think about these decisions before you make them and how they fit. Now, when we're connecting dots, I want you to remember this picture. I like to use this in my seminars. And by the way, you do need to come to these seminars. They're really good. So when we're connecting dots, we always want to connect our dots in a circle, not in a straight line, not in a triangle, because there's stopping places in these other types of designs. But when we put our dots in a circle, the ball keeps rolling. And everything you want to do in your business decision making is, how do I keep this ball rolling? How do I keep my business in gear? How do I do business in January, in March, in July, in October, and back again in January without stopping, without having a period I have no cash flow? Keeping a small business sustainable, the key to that is keep it rolling. Always know what's next and always do things that keep your business alive and moving. Once your business stops, it becomes stagnant and you're backing up when you're stagnant. Drill skill number 7 is about the most 3 magical words in small business. The 3 little words that will put more cash in your cash drawer than any other 3 words in the whole dictionary or that you find on the internet. You can do all the Googling that you want to do, but these 3 words is what's going to make the profits for you. And these 3 words are, by the way. Yep, just plain old by the way. Because when you have those as a part of your DNA and your sales team has those as a part of their DNA, here's what happens. You will learn then the advantages and the power, the real power to put profits into your bottom line when you're able to say, and by the way, Mr. Customer, we also do this and we also do that. That's called upselling. And upselling is where we can learn to stack our profits. Now, don't they have a nice ring to it, stacking profits? You sell that customer an item, you make a little bit of money. But if after they buy that item, if you are able to say, and by the way, we have this that matches that and goes with it and helps make it more functional. And by the way, we have this and the story that goes with that. And I've also got these, by the way, that will help it even do even more. Before you know it, that one item has turned into 5 or 6 items. And your profit has moved from $10 to $200 sometimes. Let me tell you, if you're able to stack your profits and use buy sales to have the smaller group of customers buy a lot more merchandise or services, then that is profitability in your business. I had a customer, a client a few years ago that came to my seminars, and the week after we talked about this, they came in to report to the rest of the group that was in the seminar that week they had for the first time structured a by the way campaign with the owners, the husband and wife, and their 2 employees, to make sure that every customer that week had an opportunity for upsells and the by the way. So the key here was they forecasted and put the merchandise next to items so that it'd be easy to point them out and easy to get the shopper to see them or see the ideas. So there was planned merchandise that had a lot to do with this. And they reported that week they had 90 some customers, and then they wonder how many of them took advantage of the upsell opportunity. The answer was all of them but 2. 97 customers bought more products when just asked about by the way. Now, I want to tell you, when they were telling this, they were so excited. They said it's the most exciting thing that ever happened to them in business. Because for 4 or 5 years, they didn't know this. And then after 1 week of doing this, they've seen their sales skyrocket and their profits as well. Now, I'll tell you, as a coach or as a teacher, it brought tears to my eyes because they were so sincerely happy. And I was so pleased to be able to be the person that shared that with them. When you come to these seminars, you'll learn a lot of stuff like that you can put right to work in your business as well. By the way, help you upsells, help you make more money. Now let's talk about the something fun. Let's go fishing. Let's talk about how to catch fish if you're out there on the ocean. I fished for 25 years and didn't catch fish but for 20. First 5 years I didn't catch anything because I knew how to run the boat, didn't run aground. I'm an ex-Coast Guardsman, but I didn't know the small techniques about how to get that fish in the boat. So one day finally I invited some other captains from the marina to go out. I bought the beer, I bought the bait, I bought the gas, and they kept the fish. And I finally talked them into giving me some tips. You know, those fishing captains, they don't like to give away their little secrets, but with that incentive, they went out fishing with me. Well, they watched all the ways I was wasting time and wasting energy and not doing things right. And that's a story I'll tell you during the seminar. But the bottom line was, what they told me was, quit wasting all this time doing other things and you keep fresh bait in the water. When you get a fish in, you put fresh bait on, get it right back out, and keep your other lines out in the water. Because when you're at the right place, the fish are biting in the right time and you don't find them often. So you take advantage of it by making sure you got your bait in the water. Steve, what's that got to do with small business? Everything. Because what do you need to do to catch customers? Same logic. The ocean is full of fish and your area is full of customers. What do you need to catch customers? You keep fresh bait in the water. And the fresh bait that you're going to keep in the water are your promotions. Sending out messages to your customers about what you have to sell, your profit centers, and why the customers need to come and see you. Staying on top of your marketing campaign, always sending out messages about what you have to sell is a key factor to keeping those customers coming in. Keep fresh bait in the water by keep sending out fresh promotions. Number 9 is the question that is most often asked by new small business owners. And that question is, how can I find customers, Steve? how can I find them and invite them to come and do business with me? And how can I find them and get the information to send them emails? And it's always gets back to how can I find customers? And it's the easiest question anybody asks me to answer. And the answer is you help them find you. In other words, you want your marketing effort to be one that's like a magnet that draws people to you. If your marketing effort is all about you going out there and shaking every hand or knocking on every door, which needs to be done sometimes, but that's going to cost you a lot of money and eat up a lot of time. So how do you find customers? You help them find you. And you help them find you by you using targeted advertising and marketing efforts. You use the right kind of web pages, the right kinds of SEO information on your website. You help customers find you by sending out those right messages that draw them in. And we give a seminar that focuses on how to find those customers. I'd like to invite you to come to whenever you have a chance. Help the customers find you. Makes your business be like a magnet instead of you having to go out in the world and capture each and every one of them. On a very serious note, something that you need to resonate right down into the rock solid part of your cornerstones of your business, and that is to always remember, make it a part of your DNA, that we can't be all things to all people. As small business entrepreneurs, we are not the Target stores. We're not the Walmart stores. We're definitely not Amazon. So we can't try to be all things to all people. And once you start doing that, you're going to waste a ton of money and a lot of effort and have a lot of disappointments because you took that route. I want to suggest to you that you try to be everything to some people. Yeah, be good at what you're doing, and those customers that you are serving, you become everything to them. So when they think about buying a car, they think about your dealership. Or when they think about needing an accounting service, they think about your office. Or whatever it is that you're doing, your customers need to know you as the provider. You're the go-to person in their life, in their business life. When you start creating yourself in your business as the everything to some people, then you start creating raving fan customers. And it takes a lot of stress away from you when you know that you've got familiar customers doing it. Just while I've been shooting this video today, I've had 4 phone calls from people from 4 different states buying 4 different items for different things. These are raving fan customers that are coming back. I'm not having to chase them. So being everything to some people, giving them first-class service is all about staying in business for a lot of years. So what I want you to write down is, I cannot be all things to all people, but I have to be everything to some people. Now let's talk about money and cash flowing in your business. A big mistake that some people make, and this is item number 11, the biggest mistake that a lot of people make in their business is that they buy something, have to finance it. The minute they buy it, they're worried about being in debt and start trying to pay it off as soon as possible. So the rule here is that I want you to write down is, do not pay off long-term debt with short-term cash flow. When you buy something, before you buy it and go into debt for it, you want to make sure that it pays for itself. Your plan, your business plan, those dots you connected told you to buy it because it would pay for itself over a long term. So finance it for as long as it takes to stay right side up with your loan. But don't go right back and start using your everyday cash flow to try to pay that loan off early. If you keep doing that, you will run out of your cash flow money. You'll run short and not be able to pay your current bills because you were trying to pay a long-term debt off early. Be real careful with that. There's 2 lessons here to do. Never get upside down on a debt. That means never get yourself in a situation that what you are paying money on is not worth what you owe on it. And how do you do that? You make enough down payment that you make sure your paper is always solid. And then when you make a determination on how long to finance it for, If you think it's going to last 3 years before it starts giving trouble and costing you more money, then finance it for 3 years. If it's got a 5-year warranty on it, finance it for 5 years. But let some fast-talking salesman talk you into financing for 7 or 10 years just because you don't save some monthly income. That's a quicksand hole to get into, because eventually you'll be upside down with that paper, and that's not a good thing. What you want to write down is, do not pay off long-term debt with short-term cash flow. So next on the line here is number 12. Yep, number 12. Did you know there's a difference in the two words marketing and advertising? They really mean different stuff. And for years, I just thought I could plug one into the sentence and pull the other one out and switch them back and forth. But now, let's be a little bit more sophisticated and define the difference in marketing and advertising, because it's important to you. Marketing is the big, long-term picture. It's what you show to your customers year in and year out, and it's your efforts to make sure that your community of customers know that you're alive and well, and that you want their business, that you're hungry, and their business will appreciate it. It's that message that you're always sending out. It's that radar message that's always going out saying, we're here, we're alive, we're in your community, please keep sending us your business. Marketing would be the t-shirts that you give to the softball team. Marketing is your billboard beside the road. Marketing is the little signs that you put out next to intersections. It's your business cards. It's your website. It's the things that you're going to keep going 365 days a year. Advertising, and now we're going to call it targeted advertising. Advertising is a piece of the marketing pie. Yep, just a piece of it. So your advertising budget will always be smaller than your marketing budget. You need a marketing budget, but you also need to know what part of that's going to be advertising. Advertising is the money you spend to promote certain products at certain times, at certain prices, for a certain time period. That's targeted advertising. And that would be bigger ads with pictures in it, special messages that you do from time to time when you're promoting a new product, when it's the season that you're in. We talk about all the difference in marketing and advertising and how to make it work in a lot of different individual seminars. So plan to attend some of those. But here's the question I usually get. Steve, how much money do I need to plan to spend on advertising? Well, number one is you do need to plan to spend money. You're not going to get heat out of a wood-burning stove unless you put wood in it. And you're not going to get results out of a marketing or advertising plan unless you invest. It is an investment. And the number that I want you to start thinking about is 6.5% as a good place to start. You think what your goal is for revenue on this profit center that you're getting ready to promote. What is your goal for revenue income? And multiply that times 6.5%. And that'll be a good place for you to start thinking about how much to invest. That's a reasonable amount to put into an advertising campaign when you're kicking off. Some people will spend a whole lot more money than that, but if you spend any less, you're probably going to get very, very poor results. Wannabe entrepreneurs and new folks in business, and even some folks that have been there a long time, will often say, how do I find my biggest, toughest competitor? Who is the person that's hurting me the most? Or who do I need to be afraid of if I'm starting a new business? Well, I got a little surprise here for you. Your biggest competitor is in your personal life, and it's the distractions in your life. There's enough business out here for all of us to do really well and to really expand and grow, to go a lot of places and have high volumes of sales and take line shares of the market share. But what keeps us from doing it most are our own distractions. You're busy people, I'm a busy person. So when you're trying to think about the new things you need to do to make your business grow, you know what? That's something different's got to happen today than happened yesterday. So lots of times it just stops there, because those distractions in our lives keep us from bringing new things and new ideas and putting them into play. It's just kind of common sense, isn't it? And therefore you get into that procrastination thing. So when we learn to handle those distractions, we're going to be able to move forward. Now, what are the distractions? I'm not saying they're bad things, because it could be infant children that we're looking after. It could be you're the primary caretaker for your mom or your uncle or someone, and that's a 36-hour-a-day job. Or maybe you're already working 2 jobs and trying to get out of the rut. I know the distractions are here, and I know that they're real, and they have a lot to do with you being able to make the business decisions you want to do to move forward. So write down there for your number 13, who's your meanest competitor? The answer is the distractions in your life. Now, number 14, I wouldn't be a good guy if I didn't tell you how to let's move forward away from that, because you can win here. And it's a simple thing to do, and it's simply setting the right priorities. What you want to do today or what you want to do tomorrow to move forward, you need to list it down and make it a priority. Put it in line with the other things that you have to compete with and move it up as close to the top as you can. Finding those priorities and sticking to them is the biggest thing that's helped me through the years stay on top of so many things just as a one-person show. Here's what works for me. In the morning when I wake up and I can't quite get my head up off the pillow, well, I'm still kind of sleepy, but the TV's telling me I got to get up, or the alarm clock is, but I just can't quite do it. While I'm laying there, I'm awake, but I'm not up and moving. I say to myself and just think real seriously, what are the 3 or 4 things today I have got to get done to move forward with my plan? Yeah, it might be call certain customers. It might be raise some money. It might be move some money around. It might be to do some marketing things. It might be to make some videos. But whatever those priorities are, I say to myself, before lunch, I'm going to get this done. And then between the time I get up and lunchtime, I fight every distraction I can and try to stay on focus, try to get the things I'm done. Now, some days I'm a total failure. Things come in, I can't move them. But on days that I do have some flexibility, if I've got those priorities on my mind, I get a lot accomplished. Give that a try. I have more people that come to my seminars that report back to me or send me an email and say, Steve, thank you so much for setting the priorities, because it's making a major difference every day in my new business life. So I was glad to share that with you. Now we're going to move into a topic that every business person should know, but most do not. And that is, what is fair market value? What is fair market value? Well, there's all kinds of prices. You can put a price on anything and it's legal, because there's no law about how much you charge for this or that, or how much you can discount it, or what one person might sell something for versus another person. It's a free world. But you know what? There is one value that is a fixed number. It's a fixed number, and that's called a fair market value. And that is the value of something that holds up in court. When someone's settling an estate and the heirs are arguing about what something's worth, and someone else says it's that, so they want their fair share and they're not getting this or they're not getting that. Or the husband and wife are in divorce court arguing about the value of an automobile or a house or a boat, and one says it's worth $100,000, the other says it's worth $20,000. So there's a whole lot of arguing going on. Well, the judge here, he's a smart fella, and he's going to say to them, you know what we got to do? We got to find the fair market value of this. Now, that's a legal term. Yeah, it's in the U.S. Code. Fair market value is the value that a experienced buyer working with an experienced seller, underline here, neither one of them are under any pressure. Neither one are under any pressure to buy or to sell. And then underline something else here, which is both are very familiar with this product or this service and the normal values it has in the marketplace in today's situation. Now, when those two people that are under no pressure agree of the value of an item, that's called a fair market value. Now, who is it in the world that gives us fair market values all the time? That job title is called an appraiser. and that's what they do. You see their work on your tax forms when you get your property tax forms, that your house is worth this much or this piece of land is worth that. That's where appraisers came together and determined the fair market value of something. So what's that got to do with me as an entrepreneur? It's got everything to do. Because as business people, you must know that you need to buy stuff below fair market value. When you're searching and you're negotiating, you're always looking for the deal that is below fair market value when you're buying. And when you buy right, you can sell right, because you want to buy below fair market value so you can sell above fair market value. Buying is the key to selling. Buying below fair market value so you can sell above fair market value is what entrepreneurship and the free market system is all about. I want you to learn that lesson and start using it. When you know fair market value, then you're ready to go shopping. If you don't know fair market value on this item, you don't go out amongst the world of salespeople till you do know, so that you'll get the right deal at the right time. Come to one of the seminars. We talk a lot about fair market value and how to put that into play. It's the L and the H time now. The letter L and the letter H. And we're going to call it L and H, targeted advertising. And that L and H stands for the look and the hook. When you are ready to do an advertising campaign and you're thinking look and hook, your advertising campaign will be successful. Because here it is. The L means that you put enough quality into the images that you put out on your advertising and your promotions on your web pages, that your imaging is good enough to get that shopper to stop and consider what you're offering. If it's junk, they roll on past it. If it's quality, they may stay there a minute and have that message in big, bold print to catch your eyes and get them to stay. You've got to have the look to get them to stop. And then you got to have the H, the hook, to get them to buy. The hook, in three other words, is the call to actions. That is the words that you have in your promotion that encourages people to call me now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till I have to go talk to somebody about it. Don't wait till I get around to it. I want to call you now. So you need to have a message in there that encourages that customer to pick up the phone or to come to see you and buy now. You want to take their butt out of the marketplace, and you do that with effective L&H marketing. The call to action is, hey, you need to do this before Friday at noon to get this deal. Or, hey, if you want us to come and clean your house before Easter, you need to call today. The call to action has to be in that ad for it to work. And you also need a termination date on there some way. This deal ends on a certain date, because that termination date gives you the ability, the unique ability, to make that ad accountable. Oh yeah, you can put your advertising campaign down. I'm going to spend this amount of money on it up to a certain date. And then you monitor those sales as they come in, how many of them are using that coupon number or referring to that ad, to see if that ad made you money or not. To see if that ad made money or not. Yes, you can make your ads pay for themselves with the L and the H. If it made money, great, let's do it some more. If it didn't make money, we are not going to use that ad campaign again. And when you don't use it again, then you start saving tons of money that are usually wasted in marketing and advertising by most businesses. The L and the H, big deal. Number 17 in our drill skills is cash flow. Kind of redefining cash flow, because let me tell you, you can go to a lot of different schools and take a lot of different classes, and you'll hear thousands of different sermons and lessons and do's and don'ts about cash flow. You can take all the time you want to. You can Google it and spend 2 weeks reading what it has to say. But old Papo Steve-O here's got a definition that I've used for a lot of years that kind of bring it home. Because cash flow is the heartbeat in your business. That cash flow keeps things turning. No cash flow, no business. So it's very important to me. And I want you to know, as a new entrepreneur, I suggest that you make it that part of you too. In other words, when you think business, when you look at a customer, when you look at your store, the first thought that's coming through your mind is, how can I improve my cash flow? How can I do it? One way is that you just say to yourself that, hey, you customer, you got my money in your pocket, and I want my money out of your pocket. And I want you so happy that you gave me my money out of your pocket, you don't turn and say, I got some more in this pocket. Go ahead, Steve, get it out of there. You need to own, as a business person, you need to be hungry to make money. You need to be proud of the fact that you have the ability to get customers to give you your money out of their pocket. Now, when you're thinking that way, something will come very clear to you. And that is, what is cash flow now? Well, positive cash flow becomes, the new definition is when positive cash flow works like this. When a customer comes through your door or comes onto your website or in some way is in your environment in a position to do business and they've got money in their pocket that they can spend, that's positive cash flow. And if that customer leaves here, leaves your sphere of influence, and that money is still in their pocket, my friend, that's negative cash flow. And that's a bad thing. Yeah, positive cash flow is when they're in your environment. Negative cash flow is when they leave and you haven't gotten any of your money out of their pocket. Now, thinking like that and training your employees to think like that will put a new zeal in your selling, will put a new zeal in your ability to make customers happy and your willingness to go the extra mile to indeed be a salesperson instead of just an order taker. Heck, we can hire order takers all day long for a low amount of money, but you want to hire salespeople who are going after that extra money, that extra upsells, what it takes to make your company stay alive and more profitable, and you have to give them the incentive to do it. That's the cash flow lesson I want you to write down. What is positive cash flow? When money comes into your environment. What is negative cash flow? When it leaves and you didn't get your piece of it. Think that way and your heart to beat a lot faster and make you more money. Number 18, the biggest mistake that I see my entrepreneurs making through the years, the biggest mistake that I see my competitors making through the years, and I want them to keep on making it now, but I want you, because you've been to my seminars, I want you to learn this lesson. In marketing your product and services, if you are so uppity and sophisticated that you just look at your customer and say, take it or leave it, a lot of them's going to be leaving it. Oh yeah, maybe you're the best at what you do and you just do it. But maybe the reason you're saying take it or leave it is because you don't feel like you got the negotiating skills to negotiate with people. Take it or leave it doesn't work with me. It may work with you, but it doesn't work with me. I want to give that customer the real feeling that I want their business bad enough to negotiate with them. Because let me tell you, there's three kinds of customers. There's the customer that's going to walk into your store and pay you whatever the price tag you ask for it is. Because some people want to pay full price. Yeah, they do. If they're going to give a gift, they want it to be an expensive gift. They like to brag to their neighbors, or that's it. They got money to spend, and they want your business to do well, so they're going to pay you well. I mean, you'll see people at a restaurant sometimes pay the price of a good meal and give the waiter, the waitresses an equal amount of tip just because they got available money and want to share it. God bless those people, and we need more of them in our business, right? Well, that's maybe 25%, but again, maybe a third of the folks come in, they got available money, but they want the best deal they can find. They like to see that sale tag. They like to see that little bit, we'll give you a special consideration. Yeah, I've got money to spend, but I'm just not going to throw it away. I don't make people work for my money. That's probably the majority of folks. But then you know what? That last third of the customers, they're going to come into your store and they are hell-bent not to pay what you're asking for it. You don't give them a discount, and a darn good discount, or they're going to go somewhere else and buy something from someone that's giving them a discount, even if they end up spending more money. It's that I want to be cheap. I want to say that I got a good deal. And we got some stores, like Walmart, they advertise cheap, cheap, cheap. Entrepreneurs can't do that. So which group of customers do you want? The ones that want to pay full price, or the ones that want to give you a little bit of room to negotiate, or do you just want that cheap, cheap, cheap customers? Which group? Which two do you want to throw away if you just don't go after one with take it or leave it? I don't want to throw away any of them, do you? No, we want all three. So how are you going to do this? The first thing you want to do is to raise the price. Raise the price from that take it or leave it situation that you had marked down so you thought it would be sellable. Go ahead and raise the price on it 15, 20, 30%. If it was $100, now it's $130. But instead of just having that price tag message here, $130, now you've added some things of let's deal, make an offer. We've got options, layaway plans. You can use your credit card here. Let that customer know that you can negotiate some with them or offer them options to help them to buy it. When you start doing that, you have the ability to make the customer feel like they're important enough to you, you're willing to go the extra mile to get their business. Well, first of all, if you were going to sell it for $100, then probably it didn't cost you over $70 or even $50, depending on what type of product it is. So if you've raised it on up now a good percentage, you've got a lot of room to talk to that customer, and maybe they're going to offer you the $100 you asked for to begin with, and you'll get it. But let me tell you, if it was just take it or leave it, you're not going to get those offers. And it's the offers that make the difference in whether you have 4 customers today or 40 customers today. People want to negotiate. People want to feel like they're important enough to you that you make it happen. That's the key. Do not take it or leave it. Open the door to negotiating and selling instead of order taking. All right, on your notepad, we're at number 19. And number 19 is the 3 times rule. And you can go to your computer and start Googling. You're not going to find this on the internet. It's right here with Papa Steve-O. The 3 times rule is the way that I help new entrepreneurs consider how to get started in pricing your products and your services. And what I found through the years is the 3 times rule has got me started in a safe place. What I do is, and suggest that you do, is you take your cost for a product. You multiply it times 3, and that will be somewhere close to your retail pricing. Yeah, if you're using the 3 times rule, number 1, the first third of your revenue will pay for your actual net cost. The second third of your revenue will cover your overhead cost, your cost of doing business. And the third part of the money, what's left, the balance there, hopefully will be profit and tax revenue. This isn't the place you stop, though. After you use the 3 times rule, you take the price that you've got and then you do a survey. You compare it to how that price stands up in the marketplace. And sometimes you may need to raise it. Sometimes you may need to lower it. But it's a good place to start. It's also a good way to see that if you came up with a 3 times rule with a product needed to sell for $90 and you find that one of your competitors is selling it for $29.95, whoa, that tells you they know something you don't. Yeah, they may be selling it at cost as a loss leader, or they may have found a supplier that's selling it at a whole lot less money than you found a supplier. But it really raises the flag for you to find out what's going on. It doesn't mean you don't have to lower your price. It may mean sometimes that you just have to find another supplier or understand better what is all involved in this market. So to rehearse this, let's say you're a landscaper and a customer wants you to buy a tree for them. So you go to the nurseries and you shop and you spend a lot of money and time trying to find that right tree, and you pay $100 for it. And you bring it out to the customer's yard and you plant it and you water it and you fertilize it. And then after it's growing, you give them a guarantee that you'll keep it alive for the first season or until the next fall or whatever that date is by looking after it. Give them a warranty on it, so to speak. Well, that was $100 you spent. And $300 is a heck of a price tag for it, a lot of people might say. But when you consider what was all involved, it's a very reasonable price. Sometimes you might want to lower it or raise it, depending on the stipulations that are involved in that particular sale. But the 3 times rule is a good place to get started, trying to figure out what you need to charge for your services. Now, from the standpoint of someone hiring someone, let's say that you need to add an employee as a salesperson or a technical person, and you interview them. They're nice folks. They got the qualifications and the background that you need, and you look at them in the eye and say, now, how much is it going to take for me to pay you for you to come to work for me and stay with me? And that person looks at you right now and says, Steve, I need $25 an hour. Or Steve, I need $30 an hour. Or $50 an hour. Well, even at 50 or 60 or whatever it is, I'm going to smile. I'm going to say, okay, let me think about that a minute. And what I'm thinking about is, if you're asking $50 an hour, my mind tells me, if you can generate me $150 an hour for your services, then I ought to consider hiring you. The 3 times rule lets me know, lets me get a guide on, if I pay this much money for your service, how much revenue are you going to bring in? So the 3 times rule can help you a lot that way too. Now we're going to move on to our next item, which I think is number 20 on your list. And this is the 27 times rule. Yep, it's another thing from Papa Steve-O. The 27 times rule. It's related to advertising and marketing. And here's the deal. It's been proven for a long time that a customer needs to see your presentation, your image, to hear about your product or your company 9 times. 9 times before they'll do a serious amount of business with you. Serious money. 9 times. Why? Because people are anxious and nervous about doing business with folks they don't recognize or know. And they have good reason to be with all the scam artists in the world today and people coming and going. But after 9 times, that anxiety level goes down enough that they will consider you worthwhile. You're here to stay. You've been able to hold up to the test of time. So 9 times. So if I'm going to do an advertising campaign and I think that the customer needs to see this ad, or I know the customer needs to see it 9 times before they're going to buy it, then that's important. But here's the rest of the story. No matter how good you are in ad placement or where you put your signs, people will miss seeing your presentation 2 out of 3 times. Yeah, you put your sign at this intersection, they go to another one. You put your ad on this page and they turn over 3 or 4 past it. So they're going to miss seeing your ads 2 out of 3 times. So now for the 20 to see it 9 times, we got to multiply 9 times 3. 27. Yep. Wow. So if I'm in a small town that just has a paper once a week, that means I don't have to advertise 1 ad for 6 months before I can get my message to enough people. Well, that could be the case, but here's the good news. If your marketing campaign, now see, I moved from saying advertising to marketing. If your marketing campaign is keeping your word out there all the time with small, inexpensive ads, so that the people are always seeing and being reminded that you're alive and well and your company is here to stay with low-cost ads. When it's time for you to run those expensive ads, oh yeah, when it's time for you to run those expensive ads, you don't have to run them but 3 times. Yeah. Why? Because when they see that ad, they will recognize that your company is worthy of being considered. And if it's a good ad with look and hook features to it, there's a good chance they will read it. So using the look and the hook and the 27 times rule can cut your advertising cost on important big ticket ads by 2/3. It can cut an advertising campaign from $3,000 to $1,000 or $300 to $100 if you've got an ongoing marketing campaign. And that's the reason you need an ongoing marketing campaign. Now back to drill skill number 2, remember? You need a marketing campaign that's going to tell you what's next. It's going to bring in that business for you for year after year after year. So you're going to keep it out there at fairly low cost. So when it's time to introduce something new or have a special campaign, it'll pay for itself, but you don't have to spend a ton of money to do it. What you want to remember is not how much money you're spending on advertising. It's not how many ads you're throwing out there to the world. What counts is how many of them are working versus how many are not. Hopefully I've given you a good introduction to the 30 drill skills, and we're up to number 21. I appreciate your listening so far in the notes that you're taking. I don't begin kind of abbreviating these a little bit at this point, but I want to remind you we give the full dose and the full lesson and the exercises and the examples in our seminars that we give at the Small Business Center. So you're welcome to come and learn a lot more and see how you can put them to work in your business at those seminars. So let's talk about number 21. Number 21 is yes if, no but negotiating. And we covered that very thoroughly in one of the books that I've written, Yes If, No But. But basically what that's saying is we've got to find ways to keep the negotiating going. If it's just no, I can't do that, or no, that price is too high, and the negotiation ends, then you got negative cash flow. The customer walks out. So I want you to find ways, and we'll teach you those ways in our seminars or in my book. Yes if, no but negotiating keeps that seminar alive as long as it can go until you find common ground with your customer. Number 22 and number 23 are talking about your web pages. Your website's supposed to be making you money, and I want you to hold your webmaster accountable. There's two really important pages at your website. The first important page is your mobile page. That is the page that customers see your website when they're looking at it on the phone, because 85% of shopping on the internet today is done on people's phones. If you don't have a good mobile page, then you're losing money every day. The second most important page at your website is what I call the landing page. That is the place that a customer will land and be able to buy. Not to land and be able to look at pictures or land and look at specifications or land and see a lot of information. A page that they land and they're encouraged to buy with look and hook techniques. You need buying pages at your website, and they're very, very important. Don't settle for anything less than a website that's making you money. We cover that very carefully in the other seminars as well. I want you to understand that customers come back to you for certain reasons, and coming back is keeping you in business. Return business, repeat customers is what keeps you in business for 60 years. And there's two things that keep those customers coming back. Two main things. 40% of the reason that customers comes back is customer service, and that long list of things that mean customer service, from good lighting to good products to a good salesperson to the right pricing and so on and so forth. That's 40%. Yeah. 60% of the reason customers come back to you is hospitality. How they feel about doing business with you is more important than your customer service. So you need to find people persons to represent your business, folks that understand one-on-one communications and nonverbal skills, people that appreciate that customer and make sure that the customer knows that they're appreciated and treated very warmly. 40% customer service, 60% hospitality. Selling. What most entrepreneurs fail to do is to study how to read nonverbal communications. Because when you're trying to close a sale, lots of times the customer tells you more with what they don't say than what they do say. Take the time to study nonverbal communications. Come to some of our seminars and see how to put them in place. Number 26 is that simple question that we need to ask ourselves every day when we go to work. Who motivates people? Who motivates people? Who motivates your employees? Who motivates your customers? The answer is an assertive person. Learning to be assertive is a good thing for you to do because motivation for your staff and your surroundings will come from your ability to be assertive. That's to see that your goals are met while still being a nice guy or a good leader. Learn to be assertive. Number 27 is a topic that you don't hear many instructors or teachers talking about in classes. But I need to talk to you about it because it's a big deal. And that is the difference in tax avoidance and tax evasion. You need to know this. Tax avoidance is a good thing. It is legal. It is something that you really want to take advantage of and know all that you can, because you must monitor your books and keep your bookkeeping in a way and make your investments and your expenditures in such a way to avoid legally all the taxes that you can. Because if you're not on top of this game, the tax people, the tax that are collecting, the people that collect taxes from you will figure out a way to eat up all your profits. So tax avoidance is a good thing, and talk to experienced people that's made it for a long time, or your bookkeeper or your accountant about how can I avoid this tax and how can I avoid that tax. You have to ask them. Now, tax evasion is a different animal. It's against the law, and you don't want to go there. The people have no sense of humor that enforce tax evasion laws, but you have to do tax avoidance to make things work. Number 28, it's not how many times you get knocked down that counts, it's how you get up. And I will assure you, remember that 9 times rule? Or the 27 times rule? You're going to get knocked down 8 times before you get a chance to do some business. Get used to people saying no to you and just let it roll off of you like you're sprayed down with Teflon. You must be able to keep on keeping on. It's not how many times you're knocked down, it's how you keep getting up and keep coming back. Because the 9 times rules will teach you got to go get it 9 times before you don't get to taste the dessert. Keep going after it. But maybe more importantly than that, it's not how many times you get up. It is, are you determined to win this race? Are you determined to finish this race? And if you finish it, you'll be the winner. So be willing to go the long haul to finish the races that you entered. Next one is number 29. And number 29 is, as a business person, you're an important person in the community. People will look up to you. A lot of people will want to be an entrepreneur that don't know how or are willing to go for it. So you carry power. You carry a legacy. And will your legacy be, was he or her a giver or a taker? Were you one that did all you could do as a successful business person to share and help your community? Or did you hold everything tight and just think about yourself? I want you to think real hard about how you can become a giver and make it work. It'll pay you good dividends. Now, number 30, and lastly, I want to tell you that when you're being the best person you can be, when you're helping people, when you're caring about folks, and you let them know that, when you're being the best person you can be, you'll be the best business person you can be, and you'll have the best business that you can have. This isn't about making millions. This isn't about being a billionaire. This is about ending up every week and every month with a reasonable profit and security to think that you've got a business that's going to last a long time and keep your family and your employees' families in a good, secure situation. Let people know that you believe in something more than yourself. I take great pride in telling you that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I'm proud of that. I don't hide it. I want other people to know that, because if they know that, they will think that I'm a better person or that I will be a better business person with them, and doors will open for you. So no matter what religion you are or who you believe in or what makes you that better person, be proud of it. Let folks know that you're working really hard by the golden rule to live a long life and have a long business life by treating each customer really well so that they're 100% satisfied and want to send other people to do business with you. Man, being in business is great. I want you to go for it and stay in touch with us at the small business centers or contact me directly at